Good Tuesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness, presented by the Yes Team Realtors and Yes Realty Partners. We're powered by Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. More than 50 years of proudly serving the Central Virginia and Shenandoah Valley community. Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. Judah Wickower is our director. J-Dubs, studio camera, my friend, and the distinguished gentleman. His face on camera, ahora mismo, por favor. That means right now, please.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing
His face on camera. You're looking sharp, distinguished gentleman. That's a new Brooks Brothers jacket.
That is.
You wore it last Friday.
I did.
I didn't give you a compliment then because we had a lot of stuff going on.
Thank you.
Now it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
You've been looking for that one.
This has been on, it's just to kind of do a shout out to John and the guys over. John's the sales manager over there, and
at Brooks Brothers.
Yeah, Brooks Brothers. Yeah, and they actually watched the show on the TV in the Brooks Brothers. I haven't told you that.
That's awesome.
But we talk about this all the time. Folks like yourself and myself like to be sold well, like service, and I've had my eye on this jacket. I kind of been talking to him about it, and there was like a 65% sale that came up. And he picked up the phone and called me, and he says, "You need to get in here now. I've got your size pulled aside. Boom, done." Now that's salesmanship.
That's customer service.
That's customer service. Now to
say
I didn't walk out of there
with other stuff. Of course you did.
Well, I bought. Mrs. Smith doesn't know this yet, but I bought 3 dresses for her, which she hasn't seen yet.
Is that true?
Oh yeah.
Very nice. So they write down your name, your phone number, and your size, and have the common sense to call you when it goes on discount and it goes on sale.
Yeah, I just developed a great relationship with them, and again, that's just service. You don't get that from this, right? And there was a couple of shirts that I wanted, and a couple of jackets, and I did what I do, and he called up. He says, "Look, dude, you got 15% as a repeat customer, and we're doing 50% off." And I said, "I'm right there."
Do you go and do you negotiate at the retail stores?
No.
You negotiate at the retail stores, don't you?
No. I just have a number that I'm prepared to pay, and if it doesn't work, then I
love your chutzpah, Smith.
Let me know.
I love your chutzpah.
Let me know when. Well, it's all about Mrs. Smith seeing the credit card bill and
of course
and doing it. No, I mean it's just I love the jacket, and it's just it's just really good to be sold well. And provide service on it. But to say that I had a number in my head that I wasn't going to go over, I went over it.
Of course.
But I got more things.
But you got more things.
And that's a whole different argument.
What's the old saying? The more you buy, the more you save. The more you buy, the more you save. How about this way to start the show? The folks in this community that know customer service inside and out. You mentioned Brooks Brothers. I think another one that you're going to mention is what Sean does at his store.
Oh, Sean, give me a last name.
Sean, he owns one of your favorite shops, something you get on and you ride around.
Oh, yeah.
Blue Ridge Cyclery?
Blue Ridge Cyclery, yeah.
Yeah.
So are we going to get ourselves into more trouble on this? Because I've been eyeing up a bike that once it gets to a certain point, Mr. Smith is going to buy it. So same thing, just super. They don't sell you what you don't want. They sell you what you want. And if you can't get there, they help you get there. It's the same that we do with real estate, right?
I've been hearing from a lot of people the need for improved bicycle and cyclist safety around the area.
Oh, yeah.
And this is, speaking to you firsthand.
Sure.
You're in a lot of ways fearless. Certainly some of the stuff you've done as the Marines behind the Iron Curtain. You're not one to complain.
My risk profile is a little different.
You're a winner. But maybe this is a tough topic here. Cyclists and bike safety. Is that a real priority?
So I've got my bike on the back of the truck.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to get my workout in this morning. I intend to do it this afternoon.
Okay.
And it's a real thing because when I was running instead of biking, it's a little bit different. You can control it. You're not in the traffic so much. I'm trying to map out a safe route that I can get in an hour and a half bike ride, and it's a hard thing to do in this town. And but to throw the Thomas Jefferson Community Planning District Commission, and we've been trying to work through that through the MPO, Metropolitan Planning Area, to improve that. But I follow Matthew Gilligan.
Yes.
Did I pronounce his last name?
Yeah,
right?
Matthew Gilligan.
Yeah. He's been a super advocate for that, and I follow his Facebook. But it's a real thing, and my daughter's in from Seattle, which is a whole different world. They're super bike friendly on that, but it's funny. The pedals I have on my bike, I can flip either way, right? I can flip them so I can do clip-ons, or I can flip them the other way so I can just not clip them. And when I ride in town, I don't clip them in.
Yeah, because you got to get that foot off real quick.
If you need to get your foot off or jump off the bike, that's just not gonna happen. And then you probably never noticed this, but I have a band on my watch.
Okay, I have not noticed that.
Yeah, and so this is a Road ID watch, and it's got a chip buried in it. So if I can get my ass knocked out somewhere,
they can find you.
They can find me.
Really?
Yeah, and it says on it, "Call Jerry Miller."
Dude, I like that.
It does. It says, "Call Jerry Miller," because Mrs. Smith said, "You're a dumbass for doing this."
That was funny.
I'm a funny guy.
That was funny. I'm a funny guy.
I'm a funny guy.
The good fellas over here.
I'm a funny. Hey, you calling me funny? Am I here to amuse you? Remember that scene?
Yeah, Joe Pesci. You
Yeah.
said he wasn't acting.
He was not.
It was like literally shooting it from the hip there, and people were terrified.
Well, he was in character
In character, yeah.
the whole time,
Yeah.
and carried a loaded 38.
Right? I mean, Joe Pesci in character carrying a loaded 38, having a couple of brown liquor drinks.
It's a scary
That's
thing.
a scary thing right there.
And that was real fear in Lyota's face. But yeah, so it literally, I don't have my wife on it. I have my two daughters because Yonna's going to go, yeah.
Leave him.
Leave him, that dumbass.
Ray Cadell, our friend, thank you for sharing the show. Give the show a like and a share. Mustache Dan Pettit says, is it time for an electric bike, Keith Smith?
Oh, interesting debate. We really should bring Matthew on live.
He's got one and his wife has one.
So they have a RAD, which is out of Seattle, which I'm super familiar with. I've been to their factory when I'm out there. It's a really neat concept, and so it depends on what you're going to use the bike for, right? And I'm no expert by any stretch of the imagination. I've only been doing this since the beginning of COVID because I can't run any longer, right? But so the rad bikes are really good for like commuter but I'm trying to get in fit. I'm trying to get sharp and good looking like you and lose about my COVID 20 on that end of it. So I'm trying to get my aerobic rate up.
Sure, trying to get cardio going. Yeah.
But it's a great thing. So if you were going to use it as a commuter bike here in Charlottesville, you really would want one, particularly in the summer. Right. I mean, I just walked from Studio X to here, and I've got a little perspiration going on. And the intent of it is to help you go up the hills and stuff like that. But it's a great thing. I've test rode a couple of them, and they go up to about 25 miles an hour. And that kind of gets a little scary cruising along that.
I mean, 25 is moving.
Particularly when something else is coming at you that's 2,000 pounds.
At like 40 miles an hour.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, 25 is moving. What's the safest route you feel in the city to ride? You've probably mapped out your route, right? You have a go-to.
I mapped out my route.
Yeah, and you picked
today.
the safest probably one, don't you?
Yeah, but I'm one of these sick guys. When I used to love to run in traffic.
Yeah.
I like being in traffic. I'm just not the right.
It's the New Yorker?
I'm not the right guy to have this conversation with. You know, to me, it's like a challenge, right? Again, I hope my wife isn't watching, but she probably is. For me, it's a challenge, right? When I was training up people to run half marathons and marathons, they used to hate me when I did city training in it. Well, you can kind of dodge and weave a little bit of a car. It becomes fun until it's not fun.
Right.
Until it's not fun.
Well, I'll tell you what. We started by talking customer service. Nobody embodies customer service better than Yes Realty Partners and the Yes Team Realtors, and I sincerely mean that. One thing we've been talking about off air is how anemic the inventory levels are from a houses on the market standpoint, Senor Smith.
It is, but and then the follow-up question is what can we do to fix it? And that's where the frustration comes in. And I wish we had I wish we could take the magic marker and say, oh, this is how you do it. Everything that, the bottom line of it is, I'm going to pivot a little bit.
Oh.
Wrong word. 2020 word. I'm going to adapt and adjust. I read a super interesting article this morning so I plow into the trade magazines and trade stuff, and Inman is one of them. And there was an interesting article that they're focusing on this lack of inventory. And we touched base on this when Yonna was in the show, how emotionally it impacts the seller. There's a series of articles how it impacts the real estate agent, right? Just think about that, right? You're in the business of helping people. Do you want to help people?
Sure.
And when you can't help people, it wears on you. Like, when we're in our 10th house and, you want to have the magic answer. You want to go ahead and say, well, only if you do this, you will win. And it is a difficult and emotional drain. And they were going through different scenarios around the country. And I thought, wow, what a cool approach to talk about that, because this stress is impacting everybody in the buying cycle. I don't know what the solution is, but I just thought that was an interesting concept.
Well,
read on it anyway.
I mean, you guys, like us, we're in the business of seeing people cross the finish line. So as much of the adrenaline, the happiness, the zest that you see from your buyers when they get the home of their dreams or they get the keys for the first time.
That's exactly right.
You may not have it at the level they have, but you're certainly getting some of that happiness and that zest and that love.
Oh my!
You love it.
Without a doubt. Anybody who's on the feed who's in the business or in a service-related business,
Yeah.
right? John,
When we launch a website and our clients are happy, it's the same. I mean, it's probably not even at the magnitude of a home like you guys are doing, but you feel it.
So when I walk into Brooks Brothers and see John, they're happy to see me, not because they think I'm going to spend money. They generally are happy to see me.
Right.
And matter of fact, when I stopped in the other day, and I didn't realize I closed at 7, and it was at 7:30, and they were still helping me in this thing. That's what service kind of gives. Talk about the anemic. Just doing some stuff live here. Single family attached, detached, under 300,000. There's 5 homes available in Charlottesville right now.
Think about that. Let's give that stat again.
There's 5 homes under $300,000 available in Charlottesville.
5 single family detached
or attached.
So townhome or R1.
Correct.
5 homes under 300K in the city of Charlottesville right now on the market. 5.
2 that are detached.
2 that are detached. So 3 of them are condos or townhomes?
Correct.
Get out of town. Tell me about the 2.
So our chemistry is working because I took out attached and I put in detached in it. Yeah, so there's, actually it's pretty interesting. One is on 914 Henry Avenue, which has been on the market for 4 days. But there's another one that's been on Oak Street, that's been on the market for 342 days, which I'd have to take a look at what's up with that. But so for all intents and purposes, we got 2 homes on the market. So it's anemic. We've been talking about the whole month of April, which is fair housing, and we're having these roundtables on Fridays about missing middle, which we're going to have a great conversation this Friday, which I'm super pumped about. We're going to have 2 huge brains in the room, and
Neil Williamson and Sean Tubbs. We have a roundtable on Friday.
Yep. So
2 fantastic reporters.
Huge brains, man.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll learn more. But we're trying to stack different. We had architects, we had folks from the masters in planning, and then we're going to have the media or the journalist component of it, and hopefully we'll get some affordable housing nonprofits in here. But yeah, it's just I didn't get a chance to prep for the show today because I was busy chasing around a 3-year-old. So. 2 homes, that's just crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
3-year-old at the house right now.
A 3-year-old and a 2-month-old. And
then 2 daughters.
And then 2 daughters. And
got a full house.
I got a full house. So one of the topics we're going to try to talk a little bit about, see if we can get some engagement, is the trends on multi-generational. I've kind of created a couple slides on that. But I very rarely pat myself on the back. I kind of want to do a little bit of that if it's okay with you.
Please. I wouldn't say very rarely.
I'd
say every now and again.
Yeah, I don't really do it that often.
Okay.
I really don't. And I don't know. I don't think I do. Maybe I've been fooling myself for all these years.
Depends on who you ask. I don't think you do it all. Very rarely, Keith.
Thank you, buddy.
It's very rarely that you've had yourself on the back. Very rarely.
No, look at the time. Show's over.
I'm out of here. Going out on a high note.
The show's over. Thank you. It's nothing like having a friend sitting 6 feet away.
You said you wanted 8 feet. 8 feet.
8 feet. Sorry, 8 feet.
8 feet. You said you wanted Batman and Robin today.
I wanted Batman and Robin. I wanted Batman and Robin, and I wanted a little bit of things. So thank you for making me smile.
Yeah, the same, buddy.
Yeah. You know, we walked out of the show on Friday. It was a great show.
Yeah.
High level. The viewership was like off the charts. But I didn't have this 6-foot smile on my face.
This man very much enjoys this back and forth dynamic here. I do too.
Well, yeah.
It's fun.
It's just our chemistry just.
It's like Seinfeld meets real estate. Kind of what we do.
So who's Seinfeld in this relationship?
I'll be George. I don't mind being George.
Not Costanza?
Yeah, I don't mind. George
Costanza?
Yeah. I mean, I hope I'm not Elaine Bennis. I mean, we can give him Cosmo Kramer, and you're Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, no, don't do that. Don't make him a Kramer.
He likes Kramer, right? Kramer was great. Did you like Seinfeld, J-Dubs?
It was okay.
Okay. I love Seinfeld.
Oh, my.
It's one of my favorite shows of all time. How about you?
Well, it's kind of where I grew up, and these people are real people in my life.
Yeah.
It just was like, I was like, okay, I don't get it. This is the way it is, right? There was the corner diner, there was all that stuff. But
don't you wish we had a good diner?
Yeah, but they tried several here.
What's the closest one we have to a good diner right now? Is it Tip Top on Pantops?
Yeah, I would say Tip Top.
Tip Top on Pantops.
Tip Top and oh, come on, Smith. They moved it. It used to be where on the corner of
Cavalier Diner?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking to one down Emmett?
Yeah, the old before they tore it down.
Yeah, Cavalier Diner, I believe.
Yeah, you used to go there quite a bit.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, the guys that own Tip Top, I would consider that's a diner.
Yeah.
Right? You go in, you do your thing, but
Now correct me if I'm wrong, anybody that's watching the show, Terry has sold Tip Top.
Ooh, that I did not know.
Terry, Terry, nicest guy.
Yeah.
You would always see him around, smiling, had a great car collection.
Sure.
Terry also owns a good portion of the UVA corner.
And? Terry
at one time owned College Inn. He no longer does.
Yep.
But I believe Terry has sold Tip Top.
Did he keep, oh, come on, what's the hot dog place on High? Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill's is owned by Zanice.
Oh,
yeah.
But it's family, though.
Zanice is, you're confusing your Greek guys here.
Am I confusing my Greek guys?
Zanice is another great guy. He owns Milan as well, Zanice, the restaurant on 29. He owns Milan. I told you the deal I almost did in the back of Jack and Jill's with Dr. Hurt and Zanice, right?
I remember
that. Was like
100 years ago.
26-year-old Jerry.
Yeah. So that was last year.
Zing.
Zing. Dun, dun. Robin. So, and you think I would know, Yonna and I courted in Greece. We spent a lot of time in Greece. So
two very good businessmen.
Without a doubt.
Zanice and Terry.
And it's, I think Jack and Jill's a cash-only business, too.
Tip Top you can pay with card.
No, but I think Jack and Jill's
I believe Jack and Jill's is cash only.
Not that it makes a difference.
Not that it makes any difference. It's all going to the same place above board.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. You're on point this morning, Smith.
Well, any Seinfeld reference is always a good thing.
No doubt.
We should actually wear puffy pirate shirts one show.
That's another good one right there. Going out on a high note, like Costanza.
There you go, going on a high. So on the high note, just to do a little puffy pirate shirt stuff for me, I've circulated out to all the jurisdictions this proclamation that they proclaimed April to be fair housing, and they've all agreed to do it.
That's fantastic.
That's a huge thing. It's not the silver bullet, right? This isn't going to automatically fix fair housing, but the language in it, and at some point we can post it in the feed if they want, is very, very clear. I mean, One of it, whereas acts of housing discrimination and barriers to equal housing opportunities are repugnant to a common sense of decency and fairness. Those are powerful words, and they've all agreed to adopt that, and it's just, again, it's not a, silver bullet, but if we can get, which we were able to do, 6 jurisdictions to use the same words to say, look, we stand for this, all this fun stuff that we're having back and forth, but that's a real thing. That's an impact. That's a real impact to move forward. And, somebody asked me the other day.
You think about the impact the show is having? What you just did right there, we got new credit card policy in place. We did a live debate that was picked up by every media outlet. What do you say? The pressure and the responsibility you have, that you feel before getting in front of these microphones?
Well, I was literally just going to say that. There's a thing in the house, right? From 4:30 in the morning until I roll out the door, which didn't quite happen today. Don't talk to Keith or don't talk to Dad.
You're in show mode.
I'm trying to live up to my obligation, and I take it extremely seriously. But where I was going to go with that, somebody asked me the other day. Here's my Yankee accent. Asked me.
I like it.
Asked me.
Okay.
I don't think I could say that. My elementary teacher, my kindergarten teacher, daughter was correcting my English this morning.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, she was right, though.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were talking about, everything you really needed to learn in life you learned in kindergarten. But I was asked the other day, why do I do this? Right? Somebody was asking me, what do I get out of this? Was what they were asking me. And somebody was asking me, what do I get out of all the volunteer hours that I'm trying to put in to help? And what I get out of that is this, that these 6 jurisdictions, I can pick up a phone call and talk to somebody in each one of the 6 jurisdictions and say, look, I sent you an email. Let's talk about it. We'd really like to see that happen. I'd really like to see that happen. And they've all agreed. So I got a phone call. I got a phone picked up. I had a conversation, and we did that. And that's just not about me, but this is about just putting in the time. And people talk about this. How can we improve, right? How can we get inventory going? How can we change red tape into green tape, right? I'm not going to say it. I'm not an educated man. That's a fact. But, at some point, you just got to get engaged. And I don't know. I think it worked well. I feel good about that.
That's great. That's great to hear.
There's enough of that. I'm done
well,
with that.
and let's highlight the conversation that you recently had. And you're not going to name the name because you don't do that.
I do not do that.
But someone very high atop the totem pole said, bring me rooftops. We need rooftops.
Yeah, interesting conversation.
And you don't often hear that.
No.
It's generally the opposite feeling.
No. So, so we'll have to keep names out of it. I'll even keep jurisdictions out of it. Yeah. Because these were the administration level folks on it. But let's say it's one of the surrounding counties of Charlottesville. Was having a conversation with them about this actual proclamation, and they said, "Look, bring us some more rooftops. We want more rooftops. Bring us projects." I said, "Well, don't be careful what you wish for.
Right?
You might just get it.
That's what he does.
That's what you just might get it." So it was an very interesting conversation, and thank you for bringing that up. But that means the world to me. That means you actually listen to what
I listen to everything you say.
Thank you.
I was actually saying this to the other day. Who was I saying this to? That for 2+ years, I've sat in a classroom with a teacher, when he brings his wife, a really good teacher.
About to say,
when he brings his son.
Smart, intelligent, good-looking teacher.
You're a great teacher.
It ain't me.
You're a great teacher. When he brings his wife, she's a really good teacher.
What do you think I learned all this
stuff? And then
stuff
all these other people for 2+ years, 2 hours a week.
Well,
3 hours a week. Normally, we never stop at 2 hours. We're never stopping on time.
Which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah, well, I mean, I enjoy it. Dude, I sincerely mean this. I truly enjoy it. It's fun.
So if COVID wasn't here, I'd get up and hug you.
It's fun. Well, you're getting your second shot. I got the.
You did the one and done.
I'm fully vaccinated.
You did the one and done?
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little
Please.
bit. Because that's be some good information to get out. Because you were talking about it on your show yesterday.
Yeah.
On your noon show yesterday. And I believe, and somebody on the feed will correct me if I'm wrong, it is now open to anybody?
I mean, you know what happened? I went into the store.
Yeah, you were saying.
For a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
You don't like the Cool Ranch?
No, we got to talk about your
What do you
snack.
like, the red Doritos?
No. Let's finish the shot thing, and then I need to. I have a little concern as a Batman about Robin's
Diet?
diet.
Okay, you sound like, what was Robin's wife or girlfriend? Did Robin have a wife or girlfriend? Robin did not have a wife or girlfriend?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, Batman had Catwoman, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't Catwoman Batman's?
That was more recent.
Yeah, I don't think that.
So Batman didn't have a wife or girlfriend? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. Mrs. Robin also is wondering about Robin's diet as well.
Let's go back and do the shot thing because this is important information.
I went
to
into the grocery store.
Yeah.
I wanted to get a bag of chips.
Yep.
I randomly stopped by the pharmacy. I said,
Hey.
You have any, hey, like we do?
Yep.
I'll talk to anybody. You'll
Sure.
talk to anybody.
Sure.
Said, hey, I was like, maybe I can charm my way into a shot. I mean, you've done that before. You know what I'm saying? We have that gift, right? And then I didn't even have to put on the charm. They said, sure, sit down. We'll be out in 5 minutes. Fill this paperwork out. Filled the paperwork out. They didn't ask what group I was in, what I did for a living, whether I had health issues, or was it called comorbidities, or whatever the word is. They didn't ask.
Comorbidities.
Yeah, thank you, Judah. Judah's the smart guy here. They didn't ask any of that. They just gave me a shot.
Reason we call him Alfred, man.
Yeah, that's right. He keeps us on. They literally didn't ask anything. They just gave me the shot. I mean, it was that easy.
So, did you have a choice, or they only had available?
The J&J was what they said. We have J&J for you today, and I was like, whatever you can put in my arm.
So you got lucky.
Yeah, I got lucky twice.
You got lucky twice, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think you know, my father, God love him. He would say, "Son, if BS was making money, you'd be a wealthy man." So you BS'd your way into it, into getting a shot. But you don't know unless you ask.
You don't
right?
know. The worst thing they can say is no.
No, okay, turn around, walk away.
Once I realized, dude, and I'm teaching this.
How often do you do that?
What?
Just ask.
25 times a day?
There you go.
Dude, I'm teaching this to my son now, and my son is he's 3 years old, our son, and he is a master.
Good catch, by the way.
Master negotiator already. So we'll say he's 3 years old, okay? Now he's still learning his numbers. Okay, so we'll be like, Trey, you have 5 more minutes, and then it's bath time and it's bedtime. We're gonna put the timer on, and when it beats, he goes, no, not 5 more minutes. And sometimes he'll make the mistake and goes, 3 more minutes.
Okay, done.
I'm like, deal.
Sold.
But now he's working on 7 more minutes or 8 more, and he's negotiating. And then I'll say, look, son, we'll split the difference. You're asking for 7. I said 5. What's in the middle? And he'll say 6. And then we'll shake on it and say,
for you,
deal.
man.
And he's learning to negotiate. So I guess what he's learning, and what I learned very early on, is if the worst thing somebody can say to you is no, why the hell wouldn't we ask for it?
That's a great question. What? And I know this is a real estate show, but we're talking life stuff, which you kind of
It's all the same.
you can't separate the
Yeah.
two. So what makes a person? I've often wondered why somebody like you and I would ask a question,
You know what it is?
and somebody won't.
I think it's uncertainty or fear.
That's it. Fear.
And neither you nor I don't want to speak for you, but I'm scared of snakes, copperheads.
That's because you're smart.
I'm also scared of my wife not being happy from time to time. Okay, I'll leave it at that. But outside of that, not much else.
So fear is a wonderful thing. Fear, I would say, fear is the number one teacher of folks. People, but when it gets when you're so afraid you can't do anything, then it's kind of go the other side. But the other F word is another word that people are fearful of, right?
What's that?
What they're fearful of. What's the other F word not that F word. The other F word.
What's the other
The
F
other F
word?
word. The second letter is an A.
Judah, help
Third
me out
is,
here.
come on, failure.
Failure. Okay. Yeah.
Right? So it's
yeah,
a
fear of failure.
fear of failure, right? So it's the two F words together. And
I'm not afraid to fail either.
no, not at all.
I've failed so many times. You know, it's like if the worst thing that happens from failure is you have to start over, you lose some money, and you rebuild. I mean, money can be earned, right?
What's the thing I always say? The one commodity or the one asset that we can never replace is our time.
Yeah.
Money we can,
Money we can
and I
earn.
don't mean to be flippant about
No,
that.
you're right.
But we know what it means to go from this to zero, right? So I'm speaking from a place of reality.
Yeah, personal experience.
A place of reality
Yeah.
of it. I mean, and I have my youngest daughter home, and she's around the corner at the right next to the old Spud Nuts getting her wedding dressed. Maybe I'm not supposed to say.
Yeah, were we supposed to be talking about this?
Whatever, whatever. Getting fitted, right?
Okay.
On it.
I bet she's going to look beautiful. She's a
yeah,
beautiful lady.
I'm excited. I was told to make sure we finish the show up in time to walk over there and go see it.
For like a first look type deal?
I'm just doing what I'm told.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
I'm just doing what I'm told.
I know the
That's all.
feeling.
I'm doing what I'm told. But it's funny. With both daughters at home, just thinking about that. When our oldest daughter graduated high school, we were financially in a much better place, and we were able to buy her a vehicle. I think I've told you the story before. A vehicle that was a BMW, frankly.
For her first car.
Yeah, it was used, but
Still.
it was a BMW.
Yeah.
We were blessed to be able to do that. The second time, when we lost everything we had and we needed to buy a car for Yvonne, our youngest daughter, we had a client who just couldn't pay and had a 1997 Ford lime green Escort that we said, okay, well, let's. And anyway, to make a long story short, we got the car.
We'll take the papers on the car.
We'll take the papers.
And guess what? Here's your 16-year-old birthday gift, sweetheart.
Here's your 18-year-old birthday gift, because we couldn't afford it when she was 16 and we were not there at 18. And she drove, and God love her, I made a deal with her, right? Talk about negotiating, that when she graduates school, we will help her buy college a new car. And so she drove that lime green Ford Escort for 5 years, 6 years when she graduated. And then she reminded me at the graduation, she goes, let's go, there's the car dealer right there.
And did you do it?
Of course.
There you go.
I got to live up
to your word.
But my point is that the fear of failure, and anyway, we kind of get off subject a little bit here. Failure is a good thing.
Andre Xavier, a serial entrepreneur.
Yep.
He says, I taught my 4-year-old son, fear is the prisoner of the mind. And now he loves to say it around the house.
Good for him.
Andre, your son...
What a beautiful family, man.
Your son is going to be a phenomenal businessman and entrepreneur.
We'll be working for him one day.
Is it Landon? Is that your son's name? Andre, correct me if I'm wrong. He is absolutely adorable. He takes after your beautiful wife. And I have no doubt, Andre, that your son is going to be an incredible entrepreneur and businessman, especially with having you as his role model. I mean, do you not, right?
Oh, yeah. But, on that level, as one who's a grandfather now, you've just got to give them the tools and then let them make their own decisions. We never expected any of our children to follow in our line of business, right? The opportunity was always there, but, they're very different. One's a makeup artist in the city, New York City, the city, like the real city, and the other is a teacher out in Seattle. That's
great. And one's about to get married.
Well, to be honest, they're already married. We're just going to have the party in June, and I was trying to wiggle my way out of that, but that didn't work out so good.
Lynn Goldman, welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, Lynn. So, and any questions on the feed? I know today is just a Batman and Robin and having a lot of fun before we get into the trends of multi-generational homes.
London, thank you, Andre. London is his name, and the new baby is Julian. He's got 2 sons. Andre does. Julian and London.
And how many businesses does he own?
Andre, how many, how about this? How many active LLCs do you have? And how many businesses do you own? How many active LLCs do you have that you're a part of? I'm looking at mine on the wall there. 1, 2, 3. I got the certificates on the wall. That's why I was looking, guys, and got out of my chair. I got 7 active LLCs over there.
You beat me.
Yeah. But one of them's a holding company for the other 6.
Got it.
So 6 are revenue producing, and then the other one's the holding company for the other 6.
Yeah. Smart move.
Little corporate protection.
Yeah, well,
Do you go single member? You go S corps?
S corps.
Yeah, I go S corps as well.
S corps. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything flows back to you personally.
Yeah, S corps. Yeah.
So gaining momentum right now is the multi-generational housing, and I kind of thought of it when we had a house full, and there's a couple of slides that Judah will buzz through it, but this trend has been going on quite a bit. So the percentage of total homes in 2020 was around 12%. It's very interesting. This spring, it's jumped up to beginning of this year has jumped up to 15%. So what's a multi-generational home, right? This is where your mother, my mother and father, my wife and I, and then my kids, or in my case, grandpa, right?
Yeah.
The two
Your kids'
the kids and the kids. But it's becoming a thing, and we've got like 3 or 4 clients that's what they're specifically looking for out there. So that makes it even, the inventory is difficult to start with. That makes it even harder because, maybe you're looking for an apartment in the basement or something for grandma and grandpa to live in it. But it's an interesting trend, and I just thought I wanted to kind of throw that out there. And I think, some of the benefits to it, you can combine your budgets.
Sure.
Right.
Well, and like in this world where folks are now having to work from home, or get the opportunity to work from home, having the luxury of having an extra set of hands around for that Zoom phone call or that conference call that's on Zoom, and you don't want your little boy or your little girl jumping on your lap and causing a ruckus, it's nice, right?
Well, and so the 4 benefits was combining the budget, quality time together, right?
Yeah.
And I think COVID has really ratcheted this up. I think you're going to see this as a trend going forward.
I think so too.
And that's something Yonna and I have been looking and digest. That's part of the reason I wanted to talk about this today.
Because it's quite common in Europe. It's quite common in Spanish-speaking countries having multi-generational households. Not quite as common in America, but that's changing.
But it's cyclical. It used to be. It used to be the norm. I remember as a kid growing up, that's just the way that was, right? They were also first generation, right? Immigrants, most of them. Matter of fact, all of them were first generation immigrants, so they were coming from Europe at that particular time. But the shared caregiving, and that was an interesting. I had a conversation with a client on the way in about this topic because we're helping them do something, and the cost of elder care, right, is super expensive. So what they're doing is they're going to kind of bring them into the house, bring in, like a home care person that'll come in and take care of them. But the requirement now is making this harder because guess what you need more of? Space.
Yeah.
Right. So
comments coming in.
Yeah.
The LLC comment has got some people
cool. Let's
popping.
Let's talk about it.
Why? Okay, so first let me get to Andre's response, and then we're going to get to what people asking why we would have this many LLCs, which we have answers for. So Andre Xavier says 3 active LLCs he has,
Good.
5 businesses,
Good.
soon to be 6.
Yep.
That's Andre Xavier. This comment has come in 3 different times from 3 different people. How do you keep up with so many LLCs? Why would you need that many LLCs? And this comment, why not just have it all under one LLC? Do you want to go first, or should I go first on that?
I'll let you tackle that first because I come from real estate background, which is a little bit different. So let's try your end of it, and then we'll try my end of it.
Sure. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 active LLCs that I have. One of them is the holding company for the other 6. So that's the whole purpose of the holding company LLC, the Miller organization, is it offers me a little corporate protection for the other 6. The other 6, one of them is my B2B business, the advertising agency VMV Brands. The other 5 are for individual properties that I purchased that are commercial. I'm buying these properties in the name of new LLCs. I do that for corporate protection. I do that to compartmentalize risk. I do that come sale time, and I'm in the business of holding real estate, not selling. But if I did need to sell a piece of real estate, I could just sell Jerry Miller Real Estate 6 LLC. And here's an interesting tip, and I learned this from my mentor, one of my mentors. Whether you want to believe this or not, you're getting into that category, my friend.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Bill Nitchman is another one that's a mentor. So he made this tip to me. He goes, when you're buying, say, in a building like the Macklin building, if you buy each of the properties like Jerry Miller Real Estate 4 LLC, Jerry Miller Real Estate 5 LLC, Jerry Miller Real Estate 6 LLC, when a lender does the audit on the building, they clearly can see that one owner has a lion's share of ownership in the building.
Okay.
And that can influence, I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole because you obviously already know, and he's looking at me like, how is my friend Jerry not going to stick his foot in his mouth right now?
I'm in the bottom of that
Yeah, I know you. So there are reasons to have it clear.
You're navigating this well.
I'm trying. There are reasons to have it clear that one person owns a good chunk of a building from a lender standpoint.
From a lender standpoint of you trying to borrow money.
From me trying to borrow money and or purchase more of the building.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, it just show the lenders understand the need for LLCs, and it's basically liability, right? At the end of the day, it's a liability thing. But it's a really great question to go through, and the first and foremost, right? Don't take Keith and Jerry's.
Yeah, talk to your CPA.
Talk to your
and to your attorney.
And to your attorney.
Yeah.
Those are the folks that are the experts on this. We can speak about it from our personal experience and how we use that, but particularly in our real estate world, and I won't get too much in my rabbit hole on this, but you're 100% right. Your real estate holdings really should be in separate LLCs. So as far as tracking them goes, it's really not that difficult.
No.
It's super easy from an accounting perspective on that end of it. Your taxes, since you're an S corporation, everything flows to you personally.
That's right.
Anyway, it's a little expensive. I mean, not a little expensive.
It's not even that much.
It's not that much.
Yeah, I would even think it's even easier to manage because each individual LLC has their own bank account.
That's exactly right.
You can track the rent rolls a lot easier.
So that's where I was going to go, because depending on the line of business you're in, you don't want to commingle funds.
Exactly.
Right, and
then you lose that corporate protection.
Well, it's just not smart business. Right, so you know, entity A, entity B, entity C should have its own separate checking accounts, own separate accountings, own set of books, and all
That's
that
exactly
stuff
right.
on that end of it. Because if you start mixing them all together, and you get a bill for Jerry Miller 1, where the hell does it go, right? And if it ends up in this one pot, it becomes a little bit more complicated. So from my perspective, it's an accounting thing. But from a real estate end of it, on a liability end of it, you want that level of protection from one unit to the next and the next. Now, in my world, it was developments, right? So it was, you would have, development A LLC, development B LLC, but they're all tied into one holding company, as you mentioned. It's a difficult topic to talk about on the fly. Get a hold of your CPA, get a hold of your accountant.
I mean, the fact is, an LLC with the state is what, like $75, $85 to renew, maybe?
I think it's 50. It's $50 a year.
Yeah.
And if you miss the date, it's 100.
Yeah, it's inexpensive and worth it.
And your CPA and stuff shouldn't charge you all that much, because it depends on what you're turning right through it, how much capital you're coming in and out of it. But if it's a holding scenario, it shouldn't be having much going in and out of it,
Yeah.
right? But it's an interesting topic for some future show. I don't know if it's ever going to get passed, but there is an act running through Congress that could have an impact on real estate agents.
Oh, tell me about this.
Yeah, so I was trying to look up on the phone. I don't want to misquote it too much. I'll speak at it from a high level. And this is why this LLC conversation is probably a good conversation to have in some future shows, assuming that they're going to do this. But what they're basically going to do, if it gets passed, it already passed the House. I'm not so sure it's going to pass the Senate. I think it needs to get 10 Republican votes to do this. But at the end of the day, it'll basically remove the right to work abilities for states like Virginia, and it specifically is tailored towards the real estate business because at the end of the day, you're the broker, I'm the agent. I am an independent contractor. I'm not an employee of you. Mm-hmm. I have an an independent contract agreement. So I work for you on what's called a 1099. You give me a 1099 at the end of the day. So what they're trying to do with this act is to say, look, if you can't 1099 as an individual, mm-hmm. you either need to be a company or now I'm your employee, which now becomes a whole different can of worms for the real estate world. Yonna, and that's the spin around back to the LLC conversation. That's the way we've always been an LLC. And it's kind of amazing to me how many real estate agents don't do their business via LLCs. I just don't understand it. But anyway, it's a level of protection you don't have. It's a level of tax haven, not tax haven, that's the wrong choice of words. The tax structure, that's the word I'm looking for on it. But if they get this approved somewhere in 2023, you might have to be an LLC.
I mean,
I never understood why.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's probably because it's
the misconception that it's a lot more work and much more expensive.
It's funny. I looked last year to see who we had on the show last year. You know who we had on the show last year at this show?
Who?
My CPA.
Get out. We should bring him back on.
I think we should bring him back on.
And talk about stuff like this.
I think we should talk about stuff like this.
And he gets exposure for the firm.
Particularly since they upped April 15th ain't April 15th any longer.
It's what, May 17th now?
But not the corporate though.
You got your paperwork in? You going on extension?
Could be.
Yeah.
whatever my CPA wants to do, that's what we do.
There you go. He's a good one?
It's Charles.
Yeah.
It's CJ.
CJ's good people. He did a hell of a job on the last show.
Yeah. So I literally
we
looked
should do a round table.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. We'll get. I sent an email. You know what? This is a good idea. I sent an email off to Katie West and Bill Tucker this morning to get a roundtable, and in May, maybe we'll get somebody like Bill and CJ on to talk about business planning and structures like this.
I love it. So that's a couple of answers for you guys who have the LLC questions, and maybe we follow it up with a roundtable. Smith, the distinguished gentleman, handles those bookings here on Real Talk.
until you come up with an awesome star like you did for this Friday.
Well, how excited are you for the Neil Williamson, Sean Tubbs?
So much so that I needed to clear my brain space for today and just do a Batman and Robin.
You know what? I'm going to tag them. I'm going to be like, Neil Williamson and Sean Tubbs, we cannot wait to see you.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, first of all, I think the world of the two gentlemen. They're experts, in many, many fields, and they put the time in. So part of it is I want to celebrate them. These are the guys or the people that are in there attending these meetings, reporting back out for those who can't attend for whatever number of reasons. So
those are the guys that, frankly, are the two most seasoned journalists
in this subject matter.
Because what's happened, and let's cut to the chase, folks. NBC 29 has now been purchased by a major corporation.
Ooh.
Gray Communications.
Did not know that.
And Gray Communications' business model, like many major corporations, is to cut overhead. strip parts, and to run the business as lean as humanly possible.
Sorry to hear that.
The Daily Progress is owned by Lee Enterprises. And Lee Enterprises is trying to go public, now be a publicly traded company. And in their filings to go public, they put their business model, their plans out there, because you have to do that. And their plans pretty much do not involve a print newspaper anymore. A digital product with subscribers digitally tied to the website. And as Lee Enterprises gets its hooks into the business, it's going to do the same thing Gray has done to NBC 29. It's going to strip the Progress of its most expensive aspects and have it run as lean as possible. So what we're seeing in this news landscape in Charlottesville and Central Virginia is we're seeing the TV stations essentially become a training ground for talent fresh out of college.
Oh, their turnaround's always been.
Yeah, it hadn't been that way for NBC 29.
It had not been.
Yeah, I mean NBC 29. You just saw you've seen in the last 6 months Marty Hutloff go.
Yep.
Sharon Gregory go.
Yep.
Henry Graff go.
Yeah,
I mean, these are like three of their...
That was a huge loss.
Like huge losses right there. So we're seeing in the news landscape, I'm going to throw it back to you, TV and newspaper and radio just being stripped of their talent, and the owners of the companies asking the businesses to run lean, which means young talent fresh out of college. So people like Neil Williamson and Sean Tubbs...
And...
Our network, Keith Smith,
No.
Are more important than ever before because we have, what's the phrase?
Oh, good Lord. You're going to test me now.
The institutional memory.
Chutzpah.
The chutzpah, the institutional memory.
Yeah, institutional
Being around.
memory.
I've been doing it for 21 years. How long have you been doing it?
Since 87.
Right? How long's Neil been doing it? Sean's been doing it.
Pretty darn long. I mean,
Right?
they'll tell us, but forever.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny, as you were rattling that statistics off, this was kind of the conversation we had 2+ years ago, right? Let's be honest. Anybody who has ever received an email or a text from me, no, I can't write, right?
Well, you'd voice text.
Yeah,
Don't you?
I can't voice text either.
How come you can't voice text?
Because Siri does not understand Yankee, I have to admit. It's okay. So my youngest daughter was, from Oregon. She goes, "Say Oregon." You're saying it wrong. Say Oregon. I'm saying it wrong.
How do you say it?
Apparently not right.
Oregon.
Oregon. I don't know. But, I'm a Yankee. You can't. But but we started this 2+ years ago, and again, it's just an awesome responsibility. But I thought the word you were looking for was long format. Right, that's where my chemistry went, and that's what makes this network and what you do, and what we do here so super successful. Is this long format. Today again, it's Batman and Robin. These round tables are going to be huge, but I give and again, I'm not trying to pat each other on the back or whatever, but the impact of it, my little brother, I talk about him all the time, I call him Doc, the guy that works in Richmond and doing trim carpentry, right? He listens to the show live while he's on the job site. Who does that? Have you ever been on a job site when there wasn't music?
It's usually like Led Zeppelin
yeah.
and rock and roll.
or whatever.
Guns N' Roses.
Or whatever.
Yeah, and empty Budweiser cans.
Well... Okay.
Depending on the time of the day.
So the neat thing was when I used to roll up on the job site and the music was playing and everybody's working, you just shut the music off, everybody stops. Turn the music on, everybody started working again.
So when you had to say something, you shut the music off?
Literally, just shut the music off and everybody just stops working.
Do you miss it?
Oh, yeah.
You miss the jobs? Because you miss just being around the guys, don't you? Most of the time.
I miss it a lot.
Yeah.
I really, really do. But that was a different chapter, right? I get to use that knowledge to help other people, so, it's great. But, I do miss it. It's, you and I do this, right? You work 14, 16...
Easily, per day.
If not more than that a day.
Because people don't realize, just because we're not at the desk or at work, we're like sitting, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you here, but I'm like at the breakfast table or sitting in bed or on the think tank and like my phone's in my hand. And
I know you well enough to say this because I'm doing it. we're here working while we're talking.
Yeah, I'm thinking about work while talking with you.
That's right. That's right. So, well, you're much better at it than I am. But, you know, it's you know, it's just the amount of hours. I'm trying to bring my train of thought back again. The 16 hours, the 12 hours, just the difference about, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you feel accomplishment. When you hand a set of keys to somebody, that's accomplishment, right? You know, there is that kind of great high feeling that you get. After I have a talk with you for an hour, I feel great about it, right? But it's not an everyday, constant occurrence, right? And sometimes at the end of the day, you go, my God, what did I do today, right? I don't know if you ever have that, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I have at the end of the day, I've worked 16 hours, what did I accomplish? And I'm going to put it into context. When we were building houses, there was never a single day where I thought that. Because
you saw it. It's tangible.
It was physical.
Yeah.
Right? You walked away, or you drove down the street, and a house that didn't have any walls up now has walls up, right? Or a house that didn't have people in it now has people in it, and you know,
that's a good feeling.
You know, that and
proof of performance. The pop.
Well, it just feels good that you can go ahead and do that. And I don't want to diminish what we do, right?
Sure.
Or what other people do. It's just a different world, right? Because it's a tangible thing. And what is it? Home? No, food, shelter. What's the three? Come on, help me out, Judah.
The hierarchy of needs.
Yeah. Housing, food, clothing, right? That's the three things, right? Shelter, food, and clothing.
Pavlov's hierarchy of needs, Judah?
There you go.
Maslow's hierarchy.
I'm about to say, wasn't Pavlov the guy with the bell?
Maslow's. I think it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if memory serves correct. But my memory is not always correct.
Wait till you get to be.
Judah's going to help us with that. I think it's.
I'm looking it up. Here we go.
It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I believe.
Yeah, it's Maslow's. Let's see, we got physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, esteem, self-actualization.
Well, I missed a whole bunch.
Is food and clothing and shelter somewhere in there, Judah?
Let's see.
Well,
from the
the Smiths one then.
From the bottom up, at the very bottom is physiological, food and clothing.
Okay.
Safety is job security.
What's the top one?
Self-actualization. Let me see.
Self-actualization is
Achieving one's full potential, including creative activities.
You got him right, Keith.
Whatever.
You got an A+, son. Good work.
Well, the point that I was trying to make is one of them is housing, which is way up there.
Of course.
And we get to help them. So who you got coming on today?
We got our buddy, Mr. Alex Erpy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. We have, you'll appreciate this. So we get a lot, like you, a lot of folks reach out to us to come on the show, just like yours.
Sure.
And we got two ladies who reached out, Angela Lynn and Nancy Gill. Angela Lynn had a short time running for the House of Delegates in Albemarle County, and Nancy Gill was the former mayor of Scottsville. Oh. And they want to come on the show, among other things, to talk, and this is right up your alley, cycle safety, bicycle safety, and lanes around Albemarle County. 2 years ago, Angela's husband was permanently injured with a spinal cord injury while riding in Albemarle County. Nancy Gill had a 21-year-old niece, a VMI grad, killed on her bicycle by a motorist. And they want to come and discuss bike lane safety from Charlottesville to Scottsville before more, injuries happen. And dude,
how do you do
you
that?
Send something like this to me,
yeah,
and I'm like, whatever you need,
sure,
come on the show, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an important topic.
Did you book them yet?
They're coming on Thursday.
Good.
So and it's going to be a roundtable.
Good.
So I'm super excited. And you know why, dude, you need to see this.
What time? It's just the noon show, right?
Yeah, and you got to see. You might also want to reach out to Sean. Is it Tevendale at Blue Ridge Cyclery?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to show you this. Okay.
We have cameras on, right?
We do have cameras on. Okay, so I'm going to walk this over to my friend Keith. Read the the copy and look at the picture. That just happened.
Oh, I saw this
You
already.
did?
Yeah, I saw this already.
Yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
basically in a nutshell, the owner of Blue Ridge Cyclery
Yeah.
posted a photo of somebody who got killed on a bike
Yeah.
very recently. And you know what immediately I thought of? I thought of you.
Oh, thank you.
Because I know you ride your bicycle around here.
Yeah, and
And dude, it's becoming it should be in the news cycle. It should be in the conversation cycle, right?
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
You see
my
the photo?
Family, yeah. He sent this to me.
Okay.
Also, yeah. You know, I'm going to take some notes. I'm going to watch on Thursday, and because I'm going to pull some stats off of the Planning District Commission to help with that conversation. And there are bike ped plans going. The problem is,
I never thought about this.
Yeah.
Is it not, help me, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, please. Is it not a safe area for riding the bikes around? The city, the county, everywhere, I'm saying.
yeah. So the problem, as a rider, the problem is the roads, right? So they, particularly like Route 53, many people don't know, that's part of the transcontinental bike route. Route 76. You can actually take Route 76 on a bike from one end of the country to the other end of the country. The problem is Route 53, when it was built, initially doesn't have any shoulders, right?
I mean, it's dangerous for cars. Like if you get a logging truck coming the other way, you're like white knuckling at times.
So you know the owner and I used to run rescue squad in Fluvanna County. We
Right.
did it for a couple of decades, and there was a particular accident 20 years ago on the Buck Island thing coming, which was actually Yonna was crew chief for that particular day, and it's not a pleasant story. So there's no shoulders. The driver had to switch radio channels and put the rear wheel in one of the ditches and flipped it, and another car came and T-boned the back of the bus and killed a bunch of people in the thing, and that's the problem. The problem is there isn't safe enough room to build a safe bike lane. Well, actually, I take that back. There's enough room. There's a 50-foot right-of-way, but who's going to spend the money to widen the road another X number of feet and put a barrier between it and all that stuff on it? But it's funny. It's funny you should say that. I needed to go from my house at Lake Monticello to Palmyra. It's a bike route on Route 53. And for a fraction of a second, I thought to myself, I got to go to Palmyra to pick up something from the courthouse. I've got nothing. I'm working from home all day today. I'm looking for a 12-mile bike ride. It's 6 miles one way. Bam, I'll go pick up the document, put it in the back of my backpack, and come back. And I thought to myself, what am I, nuts? Right? There's people driving 65 miles an hour on Route 53, and my little butt going do. So it's a real issue. But I'll watch the show on Thursday. There are some really neat stuff trying to happen to make some bike routes go, but there's jurisdictions need to. It's a super expensive.
Well, heck, if you know
endeavor.
about it, you should join us in the roundtable. I mean, if only you suggest somebody that could add to it. I mean, I reached out to Sean, and Sean said he was eager to be an evangelist.
What time?
I don't know. It's 12:30. I don't know the bicycle route. This is going to be a learning experience for me. So when two people come to me that are stakeholders in a community and say, we have two family members, one of them spinal cord injury and another one that was killed, I stop what I'm doing and I respond immediately, and I said, I want to learn and help and utilize the influence that we have here at the network. And heck, with this push that I'm trying to do for the Board of Supervisors, is this being emphasized? I mean, I want to learn,
So I am looking at my calendar. I'm doing the Affordable Housing Performer at between 12 and 1, so I won't be able to join you. But
Send us some intel.
So what I'll do is I'll reach on my way home back to the office. I'll stop in the commission and talk to the executive director on there. We have experts within the Planning District Commission on this topic, and I'll see if I can at least get them to chime in virtually. I'm not so sure I can get them to come in, but I'll see what I can do to make that happen.
Well, I think all we want is what.
If you were doing it on Wednesday,
I mean, look, it's on the front page of the newspaper today.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
It's a bicycle. The headline is.
Yeah, so it's.
Ugh.
It's how. Right, Matthew Gillian has put some great stuff out there, but the question is there the political will and the capital to do that? And the other problem is...
Why? I just don't understand why there would not be.
Well, here's the issue. Here's another issue. They're state roads. So this has to actually not be run through the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. Ultimately, it'll end up there, right? They have to be involved in it in the local board. But this is a VDOT thing. VDOT owns the roads, not Albemarle County, right? So this isn't like Vermont, Justine Montgomery in Vermont. The townships own the roads. So you can talk to a township. So the city of Charlottesville is different. The city of Charlottesville owns its roads. That's a conversation you can have about, how can you do this? And Matthew Gilligan was posted some really neat stuff. So certain cities around the world, what they're doing is they're saying, okay, and they're mostly grid pattern setups, which we're not really set up that way, is they would say, First Street is a bike route, Second Street is a car route. Third Street is they would take a street on that and say, okay, that's not available to only local vehicles, right? You have to live on the street, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they end up with it, and Seattle has this, and Portland has this. But you need to have the infrastructure to do that. But once you get outside of the city, right, it's a state thing. You have to deal with the state to make this happen. And then, of course, the jurisdictions need to have buy-in on it. But just imagine Route 20, what it would take to put an 6 to 8 foot, all the utility. It's just it's just a money thing.
This person, it's on the front. It's all over the news. Was Ivy Road.
I know that. I've rode that many a time.
Right.
Many a time, and I know the exact spot that it's at because it's at a Crown, and there was also a runner that was killed there a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Same thing. So, and I just, if you go and look at the European models, they actually create separate bike lanes. They're median divided bike lanes, but the physical width of the right-of-way, how does that get done? I don't, this...
See, this is a topic I need to learn about.
Well...
I need to get more engaged
Unfortunately... I think it's like, how do you get inventory going, right? There's not any simple answers to this, and what you're doing, evangelizing it, getting the information out, just like affordable housing, just like
first step,
is without a doubt a first step. I
just Facebook messaged Sean.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. When I started biking a year ago, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to find a bike route. It is super hard. Find a safe bike route so that doesn't happen to you. Because,
and correct me if I'm wrong, the city and the 10.2 square miles we call Charlottesville, it's easier. Is it not? Because there's clear-cut lanes.
Well, it's easier because the city controls it, right? So the path there, pardon the pun, the path there is easier because the city controls what happens on its city streets. And I will tell you, in fairness to the city,
it's come a long way, right?
It has come a long way.
Right. In 21 years since I've been here, I've seen it been emphasized.
I mean, all you got to do is get on your Google Maps and switch it to bike, and it shows you all the bike routes.
Yeah. Okay.
On it. Right?
There you go. Didn't know that.
Yeah. So and a solid line is a dedicated bike route. A dotted line is the one that you share in the middle of the road. So the city's, really, since '87 has come leap years ahead on it. But just evidence what I said earlier. I will not clip in when I go for my ride this afternoon. I will not clip in. I'll flip my pedals around and use so I can get my feet off and on. maybe that might help me out a little.
That definitely would help.
But yeah,
Especially how tight, depending on how tight you keep your clip-ins.
correct.
Like when I was doing it, it was more mountain biking. I kept my clip-ins loose because you had to get them off quick.
Well, I keep them tight because I need every advantage this old dude can get in torque. So, but my ride, I've got mapped out my ride. So my ride today is coming from Ix up to Cherry, right? Or because it's Elliott at that point.
Yep.
Up to 5th Street. There's a dedicated bike lane. I'm going to go all the way out towards a Biscuit Run.
Okay.
Right.
So is that past Wegmans?
Yeah, we're going to go.
There's a dedicated bike lane on 5th Street Extended?
No.
I didn't think there was.
No. So now.
Because that's the county then.
So is Mrs. Smith watching?
I don't think Yonna's watching.
Good. So then what I'm going to do is come off the dedicated light line and use the. She is watching.
No, I don't think she
okay,
is.
good.
But
so then
I'm now worried about you.
So then I'm going to come across that. Well, so what I've done is I've drove this path I'm going to take today 4 or 5 times. So I've got it in my head. I'm comfortable with it. I know where I got to stop. I know where I got to go on it. And then there's a subdivision down there that's got some gravel roads that I'm going to do a little bit, but it's going to be a 12-mile loop. But, when I was running, it'd be nothing for me just to throw on a pair of shoes and go, right? You can move a little bit, but on a bike, it's up. But I had to map that. I mapped that out, this route out that I'm going to take all weekend long.
There you go. Godspeed.
11:30.
I know. Good show. Flies by, my friend.
Yeah,
We missed the Batman and Robin.
I do. I really.
It's easy.
I just miss spending time with you, man.
Yeah, same.
Like this.
And Judah in the mix.
Yeah. So, but Friday's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get a lot of learning on it. Our partner in crime, one of our partners in crime for Friday, as you've seen, sent us a bunch of reading material. So
I saw.
Yeah.
I like it, Neil.
I'm like, I got to read.
We got to be on our A game.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
So Friday, it's Neil Williamson and Sean Tubbs. For those that are asking, and I see you asking about the bicycle talk, Thursday we'll do a roundtable on the I Love CVille show about bicycle safety in the community. And the whole premise of Real Talk and what we're trying to do here is bring knowledge to you in an approachable way. And then you can make up your mind, right? That's the show, right?
I'll tell you what. If I was not chairing that,
you'd be here.
I would be here.
Yeah, I know you would, and you would add to it.
I would. Well, I would definitely be here. This is a great conversation,
especially with what just happened.
Yeah. So I will dig up some information and send it to you.
Thank you, Keith Smith. Yes, Team Realtors. Keith Smith. Yes, Realty Partners.
Jerry Miller. I love Charlottesville.
Thank you.
And Judah. What do we call him now?
J-Dubs.
J-Dubs.
J-Dubs. J-Dubs.
This
is Real Talk
today, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Real Talk. Guys, thank you for joining us on a gorgeous day to be alive. Take care.
Gotta go see a dress.
Yeah. You might be sprinting over there.
It's okay. My phone's been blowing up.
Where are you at?
Literally.